How's it going? I'm Eric, coming at you with a Magic the Gathering standard video, featuring a deck I've been working on, green-white aggro list. I'm calling green-white tappers. Um, it is a deck featuring, let's go over to this Scryfall here, package of white aggressive creatures that rely on being tapped or having tapped creatures on turn 2. How do we accomplish this? First off, we're playing 4 Voyager Glidecar. When this vehicle enters Scry 1, tap 3 untapped creatures you control. Until end of turn, this vehicle becomes an artifact creature and gains flying. Put a 1/1 counter on it. Crew 1, the 2/3. Ideally, we're playing this and curving into something like Reluctant Role Model or Sunstar Chaplain. Both of these creatures rely on being tapped or having tapped creatures on turn 2, or basically as early as possible to get online. Reluctant Role Model says survival at the beginning of your second main phase. If Reluctant Role Model is tapped, put a flying, lifelink, or +1/+1 counter on it. Another additional line of text that I think not a lot of people realize that this card has is whenever Reluctant Role Model or another creature you control dies, if it had counters on it, put those counters on up to 1 target creature. This does not just trigger on itself. So you'll see as I go through the deck, there are many effects that put counters on, a lot of creatures or other creatures. When those creatures die as well, Reluctant Role Model can remove those counters to your other existing creatures, which you will have because this deck goes quite wide. The other card that really synergizes well with this idea is Sunstar Chaplain. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 2 or more tapped creatures, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. And you can pay 2, remove a +1/+1 counter from a creature you control to tap target artifact or creature. Mostly you're tapping big creatures to either win through combat damage or to stave off opponent's attacks long enough to be able to win. Plus it's a 3/2 for 2. Yeah, I know. Okay, so this dies to stab, it dies to torch, right? But it's a 3/2 for 2. Can I just say, by the way, pointing this out, look at how much text is on Magic cards these days. Like, back in my day, boomer shit, I know, but a 3/2 for 2 was a playable card by itself, and now this has 2 really strong relevant abilities. Anywho's. So originally this was a deck that I had. This core was an idea that I brought to an FNM, and it was really strong. I played mono white, right? And my strongest starts were always Voyager Glidecar into either Reluctant Role Model, Sunstar Chaplain. It's the only way to produce these relevant effects in white on turn 2, right? To get those counters going as soon as possible. However, there's another card. If I dip into green, right, I have access to this dumb dog, District Mascot. It's a dog mount, and it enters with a 1/1 counter on it. You can pay 2 to remove 2 1/1 counters from this creature to destroy target artifact, and whenever this creature attacks while saddled, put a 1/1 counter on it. It's cute. It's a little aggressive. It attacks for 2 if you have a second creature, which you ideally will have. Destroying artifacts can be kind of relevant. There are those artifact decks going around every now and then on the ladder. But really, the point of this card, game 1 of a best of 3, right, is to just have access to this synergy, right? Have 2 tapped creatures on turn 2. That's the goal. Okay. Let's talk about support now. So now that we have eight ways, 8 cards that allow us to go turn 1 payoff, basically, for our tapped our creatures that want tapped creatures. That's the core, right? Let's talk about the support players. We have Paw Patch Recruit, solid card, easy 4 of, goes very wide, can play it on turn 1, so it adds. We now have 12 1-drops that are relevant to play on turn 1, right? just to get our aggressive start going. Very flexible. Presents a huge problem for decks that are just trying to remove our creatures. Honestly, most of the ways you win the game revolve around having an offspring Paw Patch recruit. Just makes your board very hard to deal with. If you've played any amount of Standard lately, you know this with those aggressive blue-green decks floating around. 4 Bulwark Ox. Whenever this creature attacks while saddled, put a 1/1 counter on target creature, not just itself, and sacrifice this creature. Creatures you control with counters on them gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. That's probably the most relevant line of text. Once again, it's a way to support this core by keeping our important creatures alive. Plus, this thing gets decently big by itself, and it's another source of self-tapping. It has Saddle 1, right? Okay. Diadrine Synthesis Amalgam. This is a card that I wasn't sure on at first. I put it in the list because I thought it would be interesting to test, and it stuck around as a 3 of. For 2 mana, right? It's a 2/3 trample. With whenever you attack, you may remove a +1/+1 counter from each of 2 creatures you control. If you do, draw a card and create a 2/2 colorless robot artifact creature token. It's interesting. It draws cards, right? It's a net 0 as far as power toughness goes. If you are attacking with creatures that have counters on them, and you decide to give up those counters, you're losing some amount of combat power to go wider, which is relevant sometimes. But the fact that it draws cards, you can play it on 2, you can play it for 5 mana, right, and present a 5/6 trampler in the late game. Pretty relevant. Just a very flexible card, right? It's not gonna be this synergistic like piece that like breaks the game. It's just very flexible. Cosmic Grand Zenith. Not much to say about this. Very strong. This pairs mostly with my Bright Glass Gear Hulks. That allows us to consistently double spell. Two very solid cards. I'm not going to go into too much detail about these other than most decks play Cosmic Grand Zenith to make 2 1/1s and then put counters on your creatures and swing. And we're doing that a lot of the time. But we actually have real like 1/1 counter synergies to be aware of. So sometimes it's actually better to just, even if you only have 1 or 2 creatures that get the counters, put the counters on your creatures, including, importantly, Cosmic Grand Zenith herself, so that she can be protected with your Bulwark Oxes. A very strong board, very hard to deal with the kind of removal in Standard right now. Not a lot of big exile effects. There is actually, I guess, at 5 mana, but people aren't playing it. And what else? There's the 3-man artifact that grabs all 2 drops and below artifacts and creatures. You know what I'm talking about. That can be a bit of a problem. What is that card called? Pinnacle Starcage. Yeah, avoid that card if you can. That kind of messes our deck up. We have 1 Seam Rip in the main, 2 Sheltered by Ghosts. The 1 Seam Rip is a target for Bright Glass Gear Hulk. Most of the time we're just grabbing 2 Paw Patch recruits with every Bright Glass. That's kind of the goal. Sometimes you maybe want a Voyager Glide card to get your tapping going, or just a nice second spell. The critical Seam Rip just clears up blockers a lot of the time. And 2 Sheltered by Ghosts. Our creatures get big. And when you have a big creature with a Shelter by Ghosts on it that is also backed up by a Bulwark Ox, these layers of protection, it can be very, very hard for your opponent to have the right cards to deal with that. As far as our mana goes, 2 forests, 7 plains, verges, passages, starting town. We're playing 2 restless prairies. And 23 total lands. I think it's all pretty reasonable. As far as our sideboard goes, our sideboard plan, generally speaking, we want to take out the dogs. Most of the time, you're just taking out the dogs. Why? Because the dog is good game one when people might not necessarily be prepared for the aggressive strategy. They might have some removal in their deck, but they're not necessarily packed full of torches, etc., etc. And it becomes a lot worse post board. So mostly take out the dogs. Let's curve out a little higher, bring in another Bright Glass Gear Hulk, and whatever sort of suite of things that we need for the matchup that we're in. Graveyard, Hate. We have one Fungus, which is a little more flexible than something like the dog. An extra Seam Rip that lets us go Bright Glass into 2 Seam Rips for matchups like Dex playing. Fear of Missing Out typically has a lot of 2-mana permanents that are critical to hit with the Seam Rip. We're actually pretty good against artifact decks in general because of our dog, weirdly enough. So we can afford to play not so much artifact hate and lean more in toward Get Lost, which is a more flexible piece of not only enchantment removal, but, creature removal. Obviously, planeswalkers. For Pick Your Poisons, this is a speculative sort of option right now because I've been running into a lot of decks playing the Rizzler, Quantum Riddler, and it's been pretty tough to beat. If they get the early Riddler into Splash Portal and just have a 4/6 flying blocker / attacker, I think Pick Your Poison is probably the cleanest answer to that, and it's flexible outside of that matchup as well. So we'll see how that goes. And then a classic sort of Basilisk Collar, Lava Spur Boots combination that I find very good in appropriate matchups. Obviously, for creature matchups, you bring in the Basilisk Collar to make your Bright Glass Gear Hulk a 4/4 first strike, trample, lifelink, death touch. Like, a lot of creature decks can't really beat that. And Lava Spur Boots for control matchups, basically. Anything where they are wiping your board or playing a lot of single target removal, you bring in the boots because it gives you, at the very least, often an attack with your creature before they deal with it, which is enough to chip away. And that's the deck. We're very resilient to board wipes. We're not resilient to Pinnacle Starcage. We are pretty good against Dimir, I think. We're decent against the I've been seeing a lot of is it spells lately. It's an interesting deck. It's a little tough, but it's winnable. And generally, just a little bit more about myself before we get into some gameplay, I suppose. I play a lot of green-white lists. I have a theory. I think people tend to not play a lot of green-white now. Back when I started playing, it was a relatively popular sort of. People give it a chance, let's say that. And I think people would give it a chance if they felt like the cards were powerful or interesting, or if they liked the color combination. And I think people find Izzet, for example, fun to play, and thus it gets played a lot, and it's seen as something worthy or powerful when it comparatively is, by most people, by most players, if you pilot something like a green-white aggro deck, it can be very powerful as well, right? Like, we can do powerful things as well. For example, not so long ago, Luminarch Aspirant Mono White was a very dominant sort of aggressive strategy in Standard. Not that long ago, right? And now we have Sunstar Chaplain, which is like Luminarch Aspirant on steroids, right? If you can enable it, which this deck can. So before you're skeptical about the power, I don't know. Let's jump into it. I'm going to play 3 games. I'm going to upload whatever the result, right? I'll let the game results speak for themselves, but hopefully I can showcase some of the synergies and power that a list like this is capable of doing. Hey, Goldstein. We're in for a tough one off the bat. Okay. I'm gonna keep this hand. It's got a Gear Hulk. It's got my colors. I can cast the Gear Hulk eventually if I draw another land. I don't have the critical sort of turn 2 tappy, unfortunately, but I could draw it. Another Gear Hulk's not bad. I don't think there's any reason to not lead on the glide car here. I might lead on the mascot if I had a way to saddle it, which I do have a Diadrine. That's actually pretty good. Maybe I should have done that. Turn 1 mascot, turn 2 Diadrine, swing, put a counter on, remove the counter. Ooh. But I'm going to take a reluctant role model. This is sort of my preferred start. Plus it lets me save the Diadrine for later. Okay, some kind of red-green Esper Origins. Love this card. Been playing this card a lot lately. Red-green Esper. I'm going to put them on the teamer list. I know that's pretty ambiguous. Teamer, what Battlecry? Teamer Battlecry. I believe it's called the combo list. Could be a tough matchup. My life total is not particularly important. I don't have a whole lot of interaction for them. Were I to speculate, I would say this is a pretty tough matchup. Sheltered by Ghosts is pretty good. That could be a good way to win this game. Lets me play this on green. Paying 2 life. Throw out the mascot to crew the glide car. Sheltered by Ghosts. Dock Orlock. Slows down their overall game plan. Yes, they already got the plot off, but at least they're not going to be able to go Trailblazer, Origins, and more next turn. We'll crew up, we'll swing, and for this survival trigger, I'm going to go with a flying counter because they don't have a whole lot of flyers. Yeah, I mean, they have Riddlers, but the goal of their deck is not to just play the Riddlers out, really. So I don't have to worry about that as a blocker. I'm putting on a pretty aggressive clock. Taking the Dock Orlock, I think, slowed them down enough. I might get there here. Ooh. This is a bit of a problem. If they have another land drop, they can actually get the... Oh, not a good enough land drop, though. Okay. Now I have to think for a second. So, happy to draw a 4th land. I can just play a Gear Hulk, which is a little slow. I can play... I think I like Role Model and Diadrine. And this lets me tap 3 guys to get a flyer going. Swing. Put a pretty big hit on them. I'm going to take counters. Do I kill the dog? Kind of think I kill the dog. Doing a whole lot else. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not quite time to kill the dog. We'll just go wide. And we'll go for another flying counter. Now, they could just murk me here. Let's be real. This deck does some pretty powerful stuff, has explosive turns. Jay Goldstein could just rip me a new one. Let's see. Skipping on 2 onslaughts. That's good. I mean, obviously you can't put the onslaughts in hand with Esper Modwin's ability. Not having access to these in the future might be good for me. That's probably the biggest way that I lose. Hurting themselves quite a bit with these towns. I have 2 flyers to attack with. Your Hulk could be good next turn if I can go Gear Hulk into Seam Rip on this. At least ward off a big trampling attack. I think I just need to play out my Paw Patch, send in a couple flyers, maybe kill off these guys for another draw. Or do I try to draw a land, hit a Seam Rip for this, still go in with flyers? I think that's okay. I think I can do that first. So let's tap all these, go in with the flyers. We'll kill off the dog, RIP. We have a land to get Seam Rip. And we have lethal on board next turn. Go with a 1/1 counter. That's fine. Your Hulk blocks pretty well. If they have Onslaught, not a whole lot I could do about that. If I had Dusk Rose Reliquary, could be a good option for this specific spot. But alas, we will settle for a Seam Rip on Esper Modwin. Do you have it? Winter Night Stories. Good for them. Kind of good for me. The more they have to spend their mana digging here, the more likely it is they don't have it. But, man, they can dig really efficiently. Hopefully the Flyers just do it for me, though. We'll see. Jay Goldstein. We'll see. 2 life. Not super relevant. They have a 3 mana reduction here from the Temur Battlecrier. Drawing a lot of cards. They have a Railway Brawler. And they can Onslaught for a good amount. Is this lethal? I think that's lethal. Damn. Good game. Good game. Can't block 2 rhinos. Yeah. Can't block 2 rhinos. Okay. Let's go to game 2. Tough matchup. We had him on the ropes. We had him on the ropes. I'm going to say that. I think we presented some pretty powerful stuff. We just don't have the kind of interaction in the main to deal with that, to be honest. It's not a super common deck. Okay. What do we bring in? Let's bring in a second Seam Rip. Let's bring in the Get Lost. It's pretty obvious, I think. Let's bring in 1 Soul Guide Lantern. That could be relevant. Bring in the Gear Hulk. Pick your poison could be probably not that relevant. Fungus. Let's go with the boots. I think there's a chance in a late game situation that the boots allows us to push for just a little extra damage that we might need. What do we cut? Well, in the header I said always cut the dog. It's pretty much true. It's fine. In this matchup it could be okay. But we want Seam Rips for elves. We want I don't know. It just doesn't do enough. Shelter by Ghost seems fine. Diadrine is okay. It looked pretty good there. It wasn't quite enough. I'm gonna go down 1 Diadrine because I brought in another Gear Hulk. And Ox is not super relevant here because they're not really. They might bring in torches, but let's go down 1 Ox. I think Cosmic Ray and Zenith is probably one of our best cards here. 1 Ox. Is the Soul Guide Lantern too cute? No, I don't think so. One Ox. Let's go down 2 Oxes. Try it like that. I like it. What can I say? Turn 1 play, turn 2 play, removal. Hard to complain about this. I'm not doing the busted thing, but I'm doing a pretty good thing, and you don't pass on that as an aggro deck, I think. You don't always have to have the busted opener, but a good opener is, you know, with removal for the deck that you need removal for. Hard to complain about that. We offer a trade. Wow. Really? Sweet. Oh, okay. Let's just go Chaplain, early aggression. If they play like one of their 3-drops to block, I can just get lost it and continue swinging. Zenith is fine to tap out 4 on turn 3, but it's actually just better as a turn 4 play with a 1-drop backup. Doc Orlock. Grizzled Genius. I'm gonna go swinging. I know the get losts are pretty important. Okay, sweet. Take them off mana. Turning off my ability to get the counters, but not the end of the world here. You could maybe make an argument for starting town Cosmic Rain Zenith there, but I think with the way our hand is sort of shaped here, I'm just going to keep removing their stuff and swinging. Maybe there's a more nuanced option, you know. But if I draw any sort of 2-drop or 1-drop action and I'm able to just put counters on my guys, I can keep swinging through. Unfortunate, but I can still just fire up the Restless Prairie here. They have to block, which is huge. I think we're wrapping this one up pretty well. Let's go with a counter on the Prairie. Present 2 lethal attackers next turn. I'm just going to go again. They would have to have... what would they even have to have? Okay, they can Flood Maw this. I always forget that. Fine. Next turn we can go Zenith into Diadrine. Present a pretty big board. If they have all this removal, it means they probably don't have a whole lot of combo action. I think the worst thing for us right now would be if they had like untapped land that didn't hurt them into double Esper Origins, back to 8 life. That could be pretty hard to recover from, were it not for this Zenith. What are they? They shock themselves. What could that be? They go to 2. They're presenting me with like a juicy berry to just swing at them, but I'm not gonna take the bait. I think they have like another Flood Maw, or yeah, into the Flood Maw. But if that's what they have, then this line is much better. Kind of a cool play, Jay Goldstein. That was fun. All right. Game 3. Does our game plan change at all? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. That looks pretty good. I have been playing this deck, by the way, quite a lot at relatively high mythic. Not that that super matters, but I've been winning a good amount with it. I think my record is fairly positive. 10 wins, maybe like 3 or 4 losses. Team Rip for an elf, Unstar Chaplain, Hope we draw a white land. You keep this, I think. We got a white land. Now we hope we draw... What's our best draw here? Get Lost, just to support this game plan here, I guess. Would be nice. You gotta put the energy out into the universe, you know? Llanowar Elves. It's for Origin. So 2 Origins in the graveyard. Now our best draw is actually probably just Soul Guide Lantern. Another Gear Hulk is not bad. It is eventually a Soul Guide Lantern. So say we Seam Rip, right? Seam Rip the Elf, they go land, Esper Origins. I don't have great attacks. I could just play Diadrine for 3 and then attack. I'll attack first and then play Diadrine for 3. I like that. Gives me options next turn. Answer the first Origins with a Seam Rip. Maybe get Bright Glass going instead. But this at least threatens, like, the activation of my Chaplain. Winter Night Stories. Okay, well, I think I have to get a Ghost, or a Soul Guide Lantern here. Grab a Soul Guide Lantern. Yeah, I mean, it's just looking way too good. And I get to attack with both of these, which is quite nice. Don't get to turn that on quite yet. Play our Gear Hulk. We're going to grab our single Soul Guide Lantern and a second Seam Rip. Actually, we have a Seam Rip. Seam Rip becomes a lot less relevant. If they go like Doc Orlock, they can maybe flashback 2. Let's get another Seam Rip just in case. And we'll put a counter on tap lane so they have a hard time torching it if they're playing any torches, I suppose. It's coming together pretty nicely. Threatening the graveyard now. Battle Crier into land into 1 Esper Origins, which is fine. So now pretty much their only out is the combo. Which I don't have to think about this too much. Seam Rip the Esper Origins. Ooh. Play the Soul Guide Lantern. We're just gonna rip it. I don't have to think about that too much. Okay, so they have 3 cards, right? They could have land into Railway Guy Rhino into... They're not going to block with the Battle Crier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I'm doing pretty dang good. I'm going to hold up mana to use Sunstar Chaplain's ability outside of all this, but beyond that, I think I'm doing pretty dang good. I'm going to attack. I'm not going to activate this ability because I want to be able to trade with Gamer Battle Crier. Okay. Great. I don't think there's anything they can have now. Might as well put this on here. Okay. I don't think there's anything they can have now in like a 2-card combination outside of just like drawing a million cards, you know? So we just play another Gear Hulk. Give it haste, swing. Let's go. Tough matchup, I think. But we did it. Match one down. Let's go. Hey, maybe I just call it there. I mean, that was a pretty good showing. Now let's play a couple more. Looked powerful. A lot went right, I suppose, but like our creatures attacked, and it looked good. There's not that much else to say about that, right? Like we're just playing efficient, really efficient, aggressive creatures. We're trying to get on the board early. A good showing for Bright Glass Gear Hulk and our sideboard options there with the Soul Guide Lantern from downtown. If we did not have that in that moment, like we probably would have just lost that game. I think it was a little weird for Jay Goldstein to block with the Battle Crier, right? I think they were in a position where they maybe had to play to just comboing off like crazy. Esper Origins into something else to draw a bunch of cards and reestablish a board, really. But I think it was pretty locked up once they made that block there. So Donut Beast, love the name. On the draw. Okay, gonna keep this. We have the play, right? Our opponent's mulliganing. We have Glidecar into role model. Yes, the Gear Hulk is pretty far away from being cast, but not anymore, and it might not be that relevant. And we get Scries, so all around a pretty good hand. Put that land on bottom. At this point, all we want is a green source, so we're gonna avoid all other lands. Okay, great hand. Archive into Plains could be representing counter magic, but as a general rule of thumb, I'm just gonna make him have it. Great. Swing in. Now, if they decide to do something like Get Lost here, who cares, right? Like, we have Curve into Gear Hulk for longevity, I suppose. Am I a mind reader or what? Who cares? Who cares about your Get Lost? Now, if they counter my Gear Hulk, actually, it's this hand is not shaping up perfect for that, but drawing another role model is actually huge here. Countered that, fine. Let's go ahead and play a tapped Passage on green. I can't target with the maps right now, and this opens up. Okay, stock ups. Tapping it for stock up is huge for me. This opens up Cosmic Ray and Zenith, so holding back the Glidecar. No reason to just force it out there. Tap out, player Gear Hulk. Great in this matchup, huge in this matchup. And what do we always grab? We grab 2 Pot Patch Recruits. Pretty straightforward. Glidecar is great in this matchup also. It's just a constant chipper that doesn't die to their Day of Judgments. Eventually, if you use its ability to give it a counter once, like it becomes a pretty quick game ender, so. My man's on the Thibble-Thip drip. Thibble-Thip. Bulwark Ox, good draw. Okay, this is the moment where you have to kind of stop and think. What do we do? The obvious thing is play out the Pot Patch. Gets countered by No More Lies. We follow up with the Bulwark Ox. Forces them to have either another No More Lies or 3 steps ahead. Could go for a map. Maps are a good option. I'm just going to go for a Pot Patch. I'm going to make them have it. And if they counter, then we move on with our lives. Great. Now I fire up the... Maybe I hold back on the Glidecar, because it's just so good into a board wipe here. I'm just going to start popping maps on the Gear Hulk. make them deal with this. They could just go like big consult the star charts. I'm not going to swing with the glide car. I actually think in this position that it opens the glide car up to removal. So they remove the glide car and then wipe the board. I'd rather make them wipe the board first. And then have something, have more action later. Does that make sense? Maybe that doesn't make sense. Maybe I should just not thought about it too much and just swung. Because say they do remove the glide car, I still get 2 damage in with the Gear Hulk there. If they don't have second removal. Star charts means they probably have a board wipe. Okay. We go recruit, play around, no more lies. We go doggy, be able to fire up this for big and swing for 3, putting them on a pretty relevant clock here. Do I play out the Bulwark Ox? I don't think so. I don't think I have to yet. Okay. This is totally fine, right? We put double counters on the mascot. Why the mascot? Because it's not the paw patch. If we just load up a paw patch, they're pretty happy to kill it at that point. And we use our maps. Actually, is there an argument for playing the Ox now? Because then we could at least save the mascot and then map it later. I think I'm just going to take the opportunity to map now. Still have some relevant cards in our hand. If they have a board wipe, they have a board wipe, you know. Another paw patch is good. Okay, they have a demolition field for our restless prairie. Play another paw patch. Playing around the counter magic there. We play a glide car because they might actually have the no more lies here. Resolves. Get to scry away garbage. Sorry, doggy. And if we play the Ox now, it puts us pretty soft to board wipe. But it also lets us put a counter on the glide car. I think I'm just going to play a land and pass. They're going to demolition field anyway. Like, might as well just make them do it now. Okay. If you're out there watching this and you're screaming at me to play the Ox, maybe you're right. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think it's the Ox's time. Elspeth? I should be able to answer this pretty cleanly. I mean, I have the Sheltered by Ghosts, but ideally I'd like to just kill it. Oh, well, that's really good. So now if you have no more lies, you can maybe keep me off of double spelling. You do not. Now I go Ox. No, now I go brew up the glide car. Ox. Put counters on my guys. And now they're all protected basically from board wipes because I have the Ox, right? And I go Sheltered by Ghosts on my little nerd here. They can't respond to this with removal, really, realistically. Eat a token, swing everything at Elspeth. And I'm pretty well set up to win next turn. So now there's this double layer situation with Bulwark Ox and Paw Patch that's really strong, where they have if they want to remove something outside of a board wipe, they have to target my stuff, and in doing that, they're giving me counters, but then I can save it anyway. And obviously a board wipe is not particularly strong here either. So maybe their best angle is like put a board wipe on the stack and target something with removal, but even that's not. That's I don't know. I don't think that's good enough probably. If that's what they have, they're 2 cards down and actually not dealing with my board still, so I'm feeling pretty good. All of that to say. Dog lets us swing with everything, which is not quite lethal. So let's just crew this and swing. Force them to block. You know, maybe make the argument that if they have like single target removal here that they want to play, and I play the dog and I get to swing with everything, then they're still dead through the paw patch. Because now they could go like kill the ox on. Oh, what is this? Okay. All right. Well, I just give up the ox for this, and then they're dead. That's really funny. Put all the counters on the on the tramplers. That's hilarious. Look, I've never had. Guess I let these all resolve. Make you pay the ward, and then I sacrifice the ox. Game 1 down. Okay, cool. They didn't have to do that, I guess. But if they had, they could have just like blocked and lived another turn. I don't know. I don't know. Kind of tough for them there. Sideboard. Is Seam Rip still good? Seam Rip can hit their Seam Rips. We cut the dogs. It's a little less obvious in this matchup. I don't know. I think it's probably right. We bring in the boots. We bring in a Gear Hulk. We bring in Get Losts for Elspeth. Is fine. Sheltered by Ghosts is quite bad. The first Fungus could be good if they're on Pinnacle Starcage. Pick Your Poison could almost be good if they're on Pinnacle Starcage. We haven't seen that. Let's leave in 1 dog also, I guess. Just in case that is the situation. Otherwise our deck is pretty geared up for this matchup. Maybe we go down 1 Diadrine. Diadrine gets pretty ranched by Pinnacle Starcage, and also we're just so incentivized to like tap out for it that pretty easy for us to fall into the trap of No More Lies. So okay, having mana is pretty important in a control matchup, and we have our powerful turn 1, turn 2 play. I think I'm gonna keep it. We draw our single doggy. Maybe would have been better to play the dog there, but fine with this. You go Starting Town. You go Role Model. They don't counter it. They don't even have like a stop to pretend they have counter magic. We're attacking. They could Get Lost me again, but maybe they'll learn from the error of their ways last game. Flying and Lifelink are not particularly relevant in this matchup. I think you just want to present like the biggest thing until maybe you need to eventually get past chumps. Okay, Starcage. Good to know. Pretty good against me. Let's play out the dog. Play a tapped land, and then next turn we can get our Zenith going. unless we draw a relevant like 2-drop that we can like saddle the dog and then deal with the Star Cage pretty effectively. Kind of in a tough spot here. Because if they have counter magic for my Zenith, I'm actually in a... I've been drawing quite a lot of lands. I think we just gotta go for it. Yeah. Okay. Play a glide car. Get the scry in. Not gonna complain about that. Relevant saddler that does not get normalized. Text our dog if we need to do that. I'm not feeling like great about our odds. They have quite a lot of cards in their hand. But who knows? Plus, I mean, this deck is much stronger on the play anyway. It'd be nice if we won this game, but ideally we're trying to be on the play. Go figure. Settle up the doggy. And if this all like goes according to plan, I don't think we're gonna blow up the cage right away. If if they have some kind of removal effect, they probably should have done it a second ago. I'm gonna sacrifice here. I'm gonna save my doggy. It seems really good. And especially if I get... Oh, I don't get the maps anymore. That's okay. We'll swing in. And I can just pass. I can do this at instant speed. It would kill the dog if I did it right now. That's not really ideal for me, perhaps. Shocks themselves. Do I care about killing this now? I think so, although I'd get a scry. The threat of it is quite good. I think I'm just gonna play out this Sunstar Chap lane. They could have a decent 3 steps ahead here, but I don't know, they can't like just do that forever, can they? Big star charts. They should have done this before, like in response to my Chap lane, right? They let me get away with a lot before casting this. And I kind of feel like they're still letting me get away with a lot before doing anything about this. I'm going to play this on green. Why not? Okay, pass. Doggy kind of doing some stuff. Now, if they have a board wipe, like a real board wipe, pretty good. Yeah, real board wipe's pretty good. Okay. I'm not gonna blow this up because... Oh, well, okay, now hold on. If I blow it up, I can get another glide car, but my role model dies. That's probably actually worth it. That's probably actually worth it. Fungus. Honestly, it's like kind of a good draw right now. It screws my glide cars. Dude, imagine if Reluctant Role Model could like target vehicles. This would be even nastier. Interesting. I'm just gonna decline. I know there are much better draws, but like this is a creature that it crews my glide car right now. It replaces itself if it gets targeted. They're on a 4-turn clock now, and it blows up a Star Cage if they play one. So it's not like the worst draw. If they play Elspeth here, sure, I could get ranched, but Paw Patch is good. I play Paw Patch right now for 3. I get hit with a No More Lies for sure. I'm just gonna play it for 1. And I'm gonna crew. And I'm gonna swing. Star charts. Once again, like, I have 1 card in hand, right? They have perfect information. Just cast the star charts in response to my recruit, right? Like, not gonna change the way I play, probably. Seems a little weird. Donut Beast. Sorry if you're watching this. Don't you want the most information, like, when you have the most options to use that information? Okay. Restless Anchorage might be a little problem, but there are 4. They could hit like an Elspeth here and Ultima. Well, at least we get to draw a card. Ultima pretty good. Those are my little dudes. You know, I won't put that on the field tapped. Thank you for asking. Okay. Well, we need enough mana to go like Ear Hulk, equip, Lava Spur, or yeah, Lava Spur boots. Ear Hulk, equip the boots, attack. That's lethal. So we might as well play the land. You need 6 mana to do that. Elspeth's pretty good. Chaplain. I'm still gonna hold out hope for a Gear Hulk here, I think. I think I'm gonna hold the Chaplain. Chaplain. Maybe it baits a counterspell. I am fading fast though. I'm fading very fast. Donut Beast. You got me on the ropes, Donut Beast. Why are they playing this card? Ox. Alright. Not much to be done here. Exile X target artifacts, creatures, battlefield at the beginning. Are they playing cryogenic orb? What's it called? Cryogenic something? You know what I'm talking about. Still probably just dead, but they could goof. Who knows? Imagine a world where they have all lands in their hand. That's what I like to do. It gives me hope. You know? It gives me hope. Okay. Game 3. On the play. Bring in another dog or 2. Bring in 1 dog. Let's cut a Get Lost. It would have been good against Elspeth, I guess, in the end there, but we were just dying to the card advantage anyway. Run it like that. Donut Beast. Your reckoning is coming. On the draw. Great hand. Well, good hand. A little fluff here with the double Get Losts and the boots, maybe. think it's good in that we get to do the powerful thing before they have a chance to counter it. So they need to like seam rip, etc., etc. Land's not that good of a draw here. I know we need lands eventually, right? But if I scry this to the bottom and we'd go land, we're pretty much out of that game. Or if I leave it on top and we draw land, we're pretty much out of that game. I think I'd rather see that go. Okay, now land would have been good, but flip the role model through counter magic. Get lost can hit seam rip. Not like the worst thing in the world. I'm gonna go for this. This all is this opens up the opportunity to get 2-for-1 by Pinnacle Starcage, but you can't live your life in fear. Play this tapped on white. Oh. Paid 2 life on accident. Maybe it'll make them think I have Mana Tithe or something. LOL. Not going to be relevant. Arcage. Okay. Good. Come on, land for Gearhulk. Oh, it is. Kind of. It is. I'm not going to complain about that. But it would have been nice to have an untapped land. Tap out for a stock up. Yep. Do I get my car back? I think for tempo's sake, I get my car back. Right? There's pretty much not a reason not to do this. They can't make super good use of the maps. Draw another Gearhulk. Huge, might I add. We get a fungus. We get a doggus, perhaps. It's interesting. It's interesting. They play an Ultima, I play another Bright Glass Gearhulk. We're in business. I'm a little nervous, gang. I'm a little nervous. I'm uncertain. I'm feeling uncertain. They don't gain like hardly anything for this. Huge. And I have removal for it. They have Ultima. They have Ultima. Interesting. Okay. Let's go. They have Ultima. I'd like to be able to. I guess I just get lost in swing, right? Not much more to it than that. Feed them more maps. I could play the dog and swing for 6. No, I'm gonna swing for 4. You're gonna Ultima. And Elspeth is not that good here. I can kill an Elspeth. Second Beza is not that bad here. For them. For me it's pretty good. Or sorry, for me it's pretty bad. Another Ultima. Continues to look very good. Use an Ox. I think I go. Is there an argument for like forcing the Ultima? Like play the fungus, threaten this? Is that like I think that threat is kind of enough. Play the fungus. That's what my gut says. Crack this. Threaten to crack it. I think I like that. Pass? Threaten to crack it and pass? I mean, you have double Ultima, right? It's looking grim. Looking grim. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm just gonna do it. If you're gonna let me do it, I'm just gonna do it. I know Ultima cleans all this up, right? But, oh, now it might not. Now it might not. Counter my Cosmic Rain Zenith? No? Counter my Bulwark Ox? I should have brewed this. I was just so excited. Yes. Weird. Yeah, fair enough. Now I think I'm ranched. I'm officially ranched. Swing for 3 in the air. Does not matter. Maybe I was a perchance too hasty there. Chance I was slightly hasty in that moment. Right? Play a Bright Glass Hero. Grab some Pop Patrick Root. Play dog. Play dog. Play dog. Play a tapped land because my life total is becoming ever relevant. Get my board wiped. And continue to hope that I draw hot. Basically where I'm at. Fortunately, I think this is the end of us. Hard to beat. Board wipe, board wipe, board wipe. And Ultima especially is pretty choice actually against us. As far as I forgot to mention that in the opening video, as far as like opening as far as board wipes go. Pretty tough to come back from that one when we're partially relying on the glide car. Okay, actually kind of a huge draw. Because now Doge is not particularly good. Describe that to the bottom. Doge is still good, but they just have so many cards, and they could just like play an Elspeth, you know. And I'm at 5. Yeah, yeah. What could we draw? If we draw exactly Cosmic Rain Zenith here, or shock themselves, that ain't it. I'm dead to. Well, they don't have Prairie. Whatever it is, the restless land. Play out our rabbit. Let's give this flying and attack their face. All I can kind of think to do right now. But I think they've got it. I don't know that there's coming back from this. Kind of an awkward hand, in retrospect, perhaps. Yeah, that'll seal it. Okay, let's go to a third match, and then we'll talk in a wrap up, I suppose. Hmm. Ah, yeah, yeah. Tough matchup. I mean, generally, I think it's pretty good if we're on the play. Um, Looked a little awkward with those get losts early. I think if we had a little more action from the get go, and they came prepared with the Pinnacle Star Cage. They knew ahead of time. This is a great hand. I can curve out. I have a lot of great draws. If I draw a land, I'm happy to cast a Gear Hulk. Yep. If I now I just want action. I just want to draw action. I'm gonna put them on the 4-color like instance list. They're starting with a Mystic Monastery here. Okay. And Paw Patch Recruit is nasty against that deck. Unless they have like main deck Fire Magic, but they don't always. Like if they just cast a Fire Magic here, they're in a really good position, but tapped land. They probably don't have counter magic. And they probably don't have a board wipe. So feeling pretty good. Let's just get more rabbits. Yeah. Draw 2 more rabbits. It's really good against the deck that's playing, I don't know, 20 pieces of spot removal. And then we just wait, because now they have to do something about this. What I'd really like to like showcase one more sort of matchup, I guess, is if I queued into an aggro matchup and see how that plays out. Either like the green aggro lists or the ones playing Ouroborid, which by the way, strong card, could be good in this deck, probably is fine. I like Gear Hulk. I'm more of a Gear Hulk guy. I like that it really helps enable the Cosmic Grand Zenith and just like drawing 2 more Paw Patch recruits. It goes crazy. It goes crazy, man. They demolition field me because they want to take game actions. They split up, which is pretty good. Play out 1 rabbit. Pass. Make them answer this. Now, if they have multiple inevitable defeats or lightning helixes in a row, they could be back in this. We're not drawing particularly hot. We've seen quite a lot of lands in our draws, unfortunately. But if they have something like Get Lost, right? Like, that's not going to do it for them. But yeah, like I was saying, I'd like to see an aggro matchup, like preferably like that mono red list that's been going around, or maybe even the blue red one. I think play is a lot tighter in those games, and Lightning Helix. It's interesting to see, I think, how like impactful putting counters on your guys in certain ways plays out like on the board. So okay, more Paw Patch. Seam Rip not great in this matchup, not gonna lie. Kind of really an awkward series of draws for ourselves here, huh? I thought we had this wrapped up. That's pretty good. So we play this. maybe they counter it. They have enough mana to do that. I mean, we don't have really other options at this point. We play this, we tap their Shiko. We threaten a big attack. They fire up their Restless Reef. And they're not dead. But not a whole lot else for us to do, right? Put them at one's not irrelevant. Now we tap the Restless Reef. They Lightning Helix my face, which is pretty good. Pass. We put a counter on one of our 1/1s. We take 4. Ultima. Okay. We draw a land. Maybe you could argue we're playing too many lands. Maybe 24, maybe 23 is too many for a deck that wants to curve out this way. Maybe. Cosmic Grand Zenith, not bad. Maybe you could argue fire up the prairie, put a counter on it, swing, trade, but I think this is setting up for a better attack. I'm gonna play the land because maybe there's a world where I want to Restless Prairie. I don't know. That's probably not right. Probably just supposed to hold the land there, but it's not like they're not gonna consult the start charts here at the end of turn anyway. What do we think about New Standard? I mean, as of this recording, Avatar is not on Arena yet. It's about to be. Vivi, Screaming Nemesis, and Croft's Eidetic Memory have been banned. To be real with you, I've been playing green-white aggro basically through all of it, and it's been fine. Land. A plane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, 4 to fire up the reef, leaves them with 4 more mana. I mean, chat plane's a fine draw, kind of. It's action, but it's not. Is it game-winning action? We fire up the prairie and swing, and they have anything. We're just dead. I don't know. I'm pretty much willing to kind of give up on this one. Is that crazy to say? I'm just gonna swing. Because in a long enough game, like they could just have all lands in hand. I know they just cast a star chart, so they don't, but Jeskai Revelation. Okay. Yeah, that's gonna do it for me on this one. Tough. Okay. What do we do post board? We cut the dogs. I think a fungus is probably fine. Get Lost is better than Sheltered by Ghosts. And run it like that. Pick your poison. That actually might just be better than Get Lost, although Get Lost kills the manlands, which is not irrelevant. Game 2 on the play versus Jeskai Black. Good hand. Very solid hand. Let's lead on shocked multiversal passage because we're going to shock ourselves anyway. Into turn 2 Ox. Or maybe you make an argument for tapped land, Ox, tapped land, Zenith Glidecar. That tends to be worse against the kind of interaction they're playing. And I think I'd rather have the option to like draw a maybe I was supposed to keep that for a double spell. Draw a one of my tapper 2-drops to find the payoff there. That's pretty good. Ox doesn't look good now because I can't saddle it right away with this. So I'm just gonna go for a turn 3 Zenith and make them like have some kind of response to that. They're on the split up plan, which is pretty good against me. Since I kind of it's weird. I want my stuff to be tapped, you know. I think I'm just double spelling here and putting a counter on my Zenith. Seems really good. I'm gonna go Ox. Resolve. Through the glide car. I know this is kind of giving up my Ox in a way. But they can split up anyway. You know what I mean? Like they get to choose how they want to split up, so it's just better to put counters on maximum creatures. Although I guess I could respond to a split up by tapping my Zenith, right? If they go for the untapped. So maybe I should have thought about that a little more. Another Zenith is interesting. I think what I do is I play another Zenith and leave it like this. Don't swing. Start to threaten some big attacks. Now their split ups are a little fine. They're fine. Day of Judgment's good. Okay. Now, do you have a third board wipe? They're gaining 1,000,000 life. I mean, what can I say? We've run into some bad matchups, I think, but counter probably doesn't. I mean, they're gonna kill the Zenith if they're gonna kill something anyway. Might as well just put a counter there. We've run into some bad matchups, gang. This seems horrible. Okay. Start getting some maps going. Let's fire up the glide car. Fire up the prairie and start swinging. Maybe they let me move to combat here. They have a demolition field, but what can you do? Yes. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna respond to this by doing one of these. that good? I'm trading 2 damage for another counter on a glide car. Could be good. If they have another Ultima, you know, I get ranched by that. More maps. More maps. Sure. Can't complain about that too much. Let's just make our glide car real big. It's just much better into their more traditional board wipes. Like, yeah, they just split up here. But now I have a glide car that contests their Shiko. So tap lane. Tapped. More like tapped lane. More like tapped lame. Yep. Yep. Land. Fire up the glide car. Attack. And we make the prairie bigger because I think the glide car is sufficiently large. Prairie being able to swing through. Wow. I ain't winning this game, folks. Glide car. Role model. Actually, double role models kind of real. They were kind of real for that one. We have double tappers. Kind of a weird like upside here. The life gain is going to kind of put me out of this one, but okay. We go for 1/1 counters because they're just the most flexible for us right now. Eventually, we probably want to get lifelink going. They kill my chaplain. There wasn't anything I could do about that. Other than put 2 counters? No, I could only put 1 counter. Tap the Regent. Maybe I'm supposed to tap Shiko there. Then I get to attack. Oh. Bro. I think we just want like 2 counters here. Yes. Yes. Swing. Get lifelink going. Now we have a tapper, but not a blocker, so we lose. That's gonna be all she wrote, gang. GG. Damn. Tough games. Tough games. But we're posting it. Because that's what we do here, you know? Sometimes sometimes you play a statistically insignificant amount of matches and derive, you know, perceptions of a deck or archetype based on, you know, 1 and 2 win-loss percentage. What am I supposed to do? Play 2 more matches and make it a 3-2 and then post a video? Oh, we went 5-0 or 3-2. We went 3-2 overall and performed okay. I think it performed okay. I think the kind of decks that we ran into are not necessarily representative of the ladder overall. We ran into 2 decks that had very, very strong answers to the kinds of things that we were doing in Ultima and Pinnacle Starcade. And That's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. You know, that's just how the cookie crumbles. Um, Look me in the eye and tell me you come across Ultima and Pinnacle Starcade on the ladder. You know, that often, and it's there, but it's not that often. But I think we got to, especially in our first match, show off the aggressive ability, the evasiveness of our deck in Reluctant Role Model, giving it flying and being able to continue to swing in for damage over ground blockers. Showed off that Gear Hulk can give our deck some late game resilience in finding our rabbits, and just there's the idea. You play aggressive creatures, you tap them, you get a lot of counters going, and it's a fun deck. So check it out, sleeve it up. Also, it's really cheap. It's a really budget option if you exclude the Cosmic Grand Zeniths. I think if you were to take the Cosmic Grand Zeniths and the lands, the rest of the deck is probably like $10, something like that. It's very budget. Were you to go that direction and cut the Zeniths and the Gear Hulks, or you wouldn't even have to cut the Gear Hulks. You'd play 4 Gear Hulks, cut the Zeniths. You'd probably play I think Sentinel of the Nameless City probably is very good in this kind of deck. Just getting the maps and having a lot more options, and with your counters, maybe go up to a 4th Diadrine. But it seems very doable. Maybe just play more Seam Rips in the main. Yeah. Anyway, check it out. Try it out, maybe. I don't have much else to say other than, okay, here's my last closing thought. Why play District Mascot if I'm just gonna cut it every game? Every game 2 and 3. I think if your opponents aren't prepared for activated role model or Chaplain on turn 2, then it just snowballs. It's like a Kali in League of Legends, right? For all my League of Legends heads out there. Just it's very weak early. It's a 1/1, right? You have to do some working to get it going, but once you do, it snowballs quite a lot. This synergy package, so check it out. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna be trying to post some more if you're interested in what I'm doing here. I have a lot more decks under my belt here. A lot of them are green-white. A lot of them are just random nonsense. Been playing with this list quite a lot lately. This is one of my better lists. Ice Till and Mightform Harmonizer. Been brewing a lot of decks with Mightform Harmonizer and various landfall strategies. So if you're interested in that, keep coming back for more. Once again, my name's Eric, and thanks for watching.